Hey, what's going on? My name is Zachary Hogan, also known as IZXTG, and I'm proudly representing Start With Trading. You can find me on social media, and this is our weekly market outlook from the 12th of March to the 17th, 2017. Now, really quickly, I did literally just film this video and it ended up being a little longer than I wanted it to be. It was about 30 minutes. I went to go start editing it and the audio was all, you couldn't even understand me just because of how it recorded. So because I love you, I decided to just go ahead, take action, refilm it right now. But just keep in mind, after I explain the new template and how things are going to be moving forward with these weekly public outlooks, this is going to be one of the shorter videos, though. We're not going to be doing too much recap of what happened last week, and we're going to be paying attention to what's happening now. So with that in mind, let's do as we always do. Let's start by checking out Forex Factory, just kind of getting a look ahead at the week to come. And it's going to be a very volatile week in my opinion. We've got basically every single major currency pair doing some sort of bank statement or an interest rate decision, so just really be aware of that. Sunday, before market opens, we do have the daylight saving time adjustment, so it's going to be basically moving forward by 1 hour. Now, I'm not sure if Forex Factory is accounting that into all of the news after Sunday just yet, so what I would recommend you do is after the time change occurs, or even Monday before you start trading, just check the news again, make sure that the fundamentals are up to date, and really just make sure that everything is taking place at the time you anticipate. So what is happening in this next upcoming week? Well, we're going to be able to expect some high volatility on the euro pairs as the European Central Bank President Draghi is speaking at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, so literally right before New York opens. If you trade, say, the EURUSD, just be prepared. It may be a little bit more volatile than normal. Moving forward to Tuesday, we've got a pretty calm day. We've got one US dollar news, the PPI. And Wednesday is where a lot of the action is taking place. In the morning, we're going to have some British pound releases, followed by a lot of the core retail sales, the CPIs, at 7:30 for the US dollar. Moving forward, we're going to have the crude oil inventories, followed by the federal funds rate, interest rate decisions. They're making some economic statements, projections, holding a press conference, and of course ending off the evening with the GDP for the New Zealand dollar, employment change and unemployment rate for the AUD, and the Bank of Japan is going to be also discussing their interest rates and making a policy statement. Now, keep in mind, on this federal funds rate decision, the last one was projected, it was released at 0.75. They're anticipating a rate hike for this month of March, and that's why it's projected at 1%. So just think of, what could happen here depending on how this gets released. If in the event where this comes out and it remains the same, they don't raise the rates, that's going to be bad for the US dollar according to Forex Factory. We can go ahead, we can expand this. The actual is greater than the forecast is good for the currency. So what could happen if this does come out, they raise the rates, and that's also a good sign for the US economy. It shows that they're recovering, it shows that there's a little bit more spending, and either way, just think of what the implications could be in the event where this does come out at 1% as anticipated. Just imagine how many traders have already priced that into their positions that they're taking, the banks, the professionals, the hedge funds, you name it. What if they throw a curveball and they hike it by 0.5% and it comes out at 1.25? Just imagine what would happen in the markets then and be prepared for that. So if we want to move forward, looking at Thursday in the morning, the Bank of Japan will be holding a press conference just to kind of follow up on their monetary policy. And keep in mind that these are tentative news releases that are happening, so this could very well happen on Thursday morning. It could get bumped. We really have to see what's going to happen. Typically, in my years trading, I've seen these come out around 9:30 to 11:30 p.m. Eastern, somewhere in that 2-hour window. It's pretty consistent. You can go and back test and see how many times it's been released, find that consistent sweet spot, and then just pay attention to what the market is showing you, because this is one of those newses where when it comes out, you're going to notice. So we've got some news on the Swiss franc. They're going to be doing a monetary assessment and their rates as well. The British pound is going to be doing some bank voting, their monetary policy statement, setting their rates. They're not anticipating a hike, and we do have some US dollar news at 7:30. To end off the week, we've got G20 meetings starting, some manufacturing sales, and consumer sentiment. So basically G20, they're going to be just getting together. They're going to talk about economic matters. They're going to talk about financial stability. And this is just all of these, big national countries getting together and just discussing this. So, what's going to come from that, we're going to see. But I would expect a lot of volatility in this upcoming week. So we're on the charts now. We're on the US dollar Canadian. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to move myself over just so you can see a little bit easier. And let's discuss the new template real quickly. So basically, our targets are going to be marked out in green. As you can see, our weekly target is up here at the 136 level, and just keep in mind, like I said, everything is already going to be marked because I just filmed this video and it didn't necessarily save properly. So our weekly targets are going to be marked out in green. Our price levels of interest are going to be marked out in gold unless they're a target, and then they're going to be the appropriate red or green depending on if it's bearish or bullish. And our confirmation zones and levels that we're looking at are going to be marked out in purple. So our supply or demand levels, they're going to be the gray as always. We got a little bit of Fibonacci up, but we're not trying to overcomplicate things. I want to simplify the system for you, make it easier for you to understand. So please let me know your feedback. Let me know in the comments if this does help you just understand a little bit easier so you can take a quick glance and just let me know if you like it. Now, before we really hop into the analysis on this asset, I do just want to make one more comment, and that would be, this was NFP week. Non-farm payrolls, it is one of the largest fundamental news releases that does come out. It's typically on the first Friday of every month. It did happen on the second Friday of March 2017, and out of a lot of the traders that I talk to, a lot of the traders that I see communicating with one another, there are a lot of people that have challenges with the market and how it moves in this week. The best advice that I could give you is simply just to be patient. If you don't see a clear setup, wait for it. You don't need to feel as if you always need to be taking a trade and always need to be active in the market. Myself personally, I'm going to be attaching a picture just, on the screen for you over on, I'm a little bit disoriented, over on the right hand side, just so that you can see what my results were for this week, how I'm doing for the month. But myself alone, I collected 182 pips just today, and that's trading non-farm payrolls. This is something where you need to be prepared, you need to be aware, and you need to just educate yourself. So make sure that you take advantage of the opportunities that are available to you. Check out all of the content in the description, and with that, let's get started. So we're looking for some potential confirmations at the 134 level in the event where we do get a little bit of a retest here. We've got our bear price level of interest down at the 130 and our bull price level of interest up here at the 137. So this is still green. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to change that to gold. And our weekly target right here. Now, we could get some potential bearish confirmation happening up here in this whole 1352 to 1354 zone. So just pay attention to how price reacts in the event where we do approach that. But I am bullish on this pair for this weekly outlook. Last week, we were bullish on this asset. We did achieve our weekly target up at the 135 level, And we're going to move over to the US dollar yen now. We were bearish on this pair last week. My bias did change a little bit throughout the week as price progressed, but that's something that only my personal mentorship students would be aware of. So if you want to get more consistent updates, just see what I'm thinking, see how my analysis progresses as the trade and as the week progresses, rather than being limited to just one of these videos each week. Make sure you head over to the link in the description. I've got a bunch of information on different flexible mentorship packages, and you can definitely talk to me about that if you have any questions before your purchase. So with the US dollar yen, what I'm looking at this week, I am bullish on this pair. I zoomed in a little bit too far, but our weekly target is up at the 116 level. We're going to be looking for some potential bearish confirmation coming in as we approach the bottom of our zone of supply here, where we did get some nice reaction at this 115,600 level, and we're going to be looking for any potential retest down here to the 114.2. Our bear price level of interest is down here at 112.5. We've adjusted that to make it more relevant, and our bullish price level of interest is also our weekly target, so that is why we are going to just leave it as is. If we're going to hop over to the AUDUSD, last week we were bearish. We did achieve our target. Our target was, or actually we did not achieve our target, but we did get a lot of bearish movement. You can see where we opened the week, indicated by this rectangle in orange. That's also something I will be doing moving forward, is just indicating where we started off the week. So you can easily see I already deleted a lot of the rectangles from the other charts from the last filming of this, but you can see we had a confirmation level up here at the 764 zone. We missed it by about 7 pips, but we did get the bearish confirmation we were looking for. Had some nice price movement down about 70 pips, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yeah, about 80 pips to the bottom of our zone, and where price is right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit more bullish movement. Look for confirmation between the 758 and the 7600 level before continuing down to our weekly target. We've got our bull price level of interest up here at the 7700 and our bearish price level of interest at the 735 zone. Looking forward, we are bearish on this asset still. We got our target, which is still about 80 pips away, so just pay attention to how the AUDUSD trades if it's something that you're on top of and you are looking to open positions on. Next, we're going to take a look at the GBPUSD. We were bullish on this pair last week, and as you can see from when we opened, we basically had just a bearish week. Now, I'm very confident that we're going to be looking to get some bullish movement coming in, especially looking at the week ahead and everything that's being projected. And keep in mind, we do have this gap right here where we got a lot of orders coming through this day. This was on the 17th of January, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit more downwards movement to this whole confirmation zone that we're looking at. But overall, my bias on the GU is still to the upside. We've got our weekly target at this 1.237 level, but pay attention if we get any bearish confirmation coming in once we get to that 123 psychological level. As I mentioned, we were bullish on this pair last week and we did not achieve the weekly target. Looking at the New Zealand dollar and the USD, we were bearish on this. We definitely achieved the target. We are looking for price down here at the 68.7 level, I believe. Let me just double check that. It was a 697 level, my apologies. So we basically achieved our target on the first day of market open, got that continued downwards movement. With where price is at right now, I would still anticipate bearish movement, which is why the new weekly target is down here at this 675 level. You can see it's in confluence with some old price action. There's also been a lot of interest within this whole range. So given how price is playing, still bearish. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of movement to the upside and get that bearish confirmation once we get up to the 0.702 area roughly. Let me go ahead, remove that triangle, and let's hop over to the EURUSD. On the Euro US dollar last week, we were bullish and our price target was up at 107. So because this asset came so close, I'm going to just draw it up for you really quickly so you can see just how close we were to achieving the target. Old target last week to the 10th. Put that up there, and you can see right here we had a high of 1.06991, so we missed our target by about a pip. But either way, if you took this trade, you had a lot of opportunity. Looking at how we started out the week, we had 3 days of bearish movement right down to our zone that we already had indicated up. We did shorten the zone a little bit. It used to extend down here to the 104.6. But we cut that down just to kind of make it more precise, make it more accurate, and to pay attention to what could potentially happen on this. I am still bullish. Our new target and price level of interest is up here at the 1.082 level. Our price level of interest is actually up at the 1.1 level, but our target is at the 1.082. And let me go ahead, remove our old target. And I wouldn't be surprised, especially with Draghi speaking, if we get some bearish movement just to kind of come back to this whole confirmation zone. We could even look as low as, 105.8. But in the event where we do come back down to test this zone, I would maybe start thinking that the bearish scenario is going to come into play. So just manage your positions accordingly. Make sure you're paying attention. We're going to quickly take a look at gold because, as I mentioned in the previous version of this video, we've been analyzing gold for a couple weeks now, and what I want to do, I want to stay consistent with the 6 primary assets that we've been looking at, being the US dollar Canadian, the US dollar yen, the GBPUSD, the NZDUSD, AUDUSD, and the what's our 6th one? But as I did mention, so we'll take a look quickly at gold, and as I mentioned in the last version of this video, basically what we're going to be doing is staying consistent with the 6 assets we've been looking at: the US dollar Canadian, the US dollar yen, British pound US dollar, the NZDUSD, AUDUSD, and the EURUSD. And for the 7th pair, once a week, what I'm going to do is take your feedback, take your comments, and pick a random asset, whether it's a commodity, a stock indice, even a stock chart, or another currency pair, whatever it is that you want to see. Let me know. We'll take that into consideration, and I will look to analyze that and have that come into the market. So, we're not going to do an in-depth analysis on gold this week. I put 2 price targets of interest for you. We are looking at the 1230 level as a bullish price target and the 1180 level as a bearish price target. So with where price is at right now, I do have more of a bearish bias on gold, at least to start next week. So just really pay attention, and we're going to have to see what happens with that. Hopefully you had a very powerful week, and let me know in the comments. Let me know if this helps you. Make sure that you like it, subscribe to the channel so you can get access to more helpful content, and share this video with anybody who's potentially looking to take some trades in the market next week. As always, make sure that you have a wonderful weekend, and with that, safe and happy trading.